It never ceases to amaze me the type of stories that I receive on a daily basis, even if I try my best to avoid them. This one right here is no different. This man's, or I should say, this degenerate's name is David McCoy. And he was a cop in Alabama for the Huntsville Police Department, and he was indicted for murdering his pregnant girlfriend. Then he staged her death as a suicide, all while being engaged to another woman. This sounds like a script made for Lifetime, or at the very least, Netflix. A former Huntsville police officer has been indicted for capital murder in connection with the shooting death of his girlfriend in January last year. David McCoy is charged with shooting Courtney Spraggins while she was inside a car at Weston Ranch on January 7th, 2022. Spraggins was pregnant at the time she was killed. McCoy is charged with 3 counts of capital murder according to the indictment dated March 24th. The charges include killing a person inside a car, killing a person and her unborn child, and killing a person under 14, which would be the unborn child. At the time of the incident, McCoy was off duty. After the fatal shooting, he claimed Spraggins committed suicide. She was 7 months pregnant with McCoy's baby. After the shooting, McCoy quickly changed his clothes and threw the murder weapon in the closet. He then dialed 911 and told the dispatch he was awakened by a gunshot from a small caliber gun, and when he went down to investigate, he found Spraggins shot in the head in the driver's seat of her car. McCoy told the first responding officer, "I think I've seen her once," but told other investigators, "I don't know her," even though officers found a picture of McCoy in the visor of Spraggins' car. He later confessed to the crime. He tested positive for gunshot residue, and they found a pistol that was not his service weapon, and Spraggins' locked phone in a closet in his apartment. Investigators found text messages on the victim's phone providing more detail on what led to the incident. Investigators said Spraggins quit her job in December and arrived in Huntsville on December 17th to move in with McCoy, but he told her that he needed more time. At that point, investigators said Spraggins drove from Huntsville to Maryland. She described a text message exchange between the two in December where Spraggins asked him what was she supposed to do. Hayes said McCoy responded, "A bullet to the head sounds good to me." When Spraggins moved to Huntsville, McCoy was engaged to another woman and living with her. McCoy told her to come back and that he was ready to take care of her. Interesting choice of words. She arrived in Huntsville on January 7th, and McCoy buzzed her into the gate of the complex at 8:04 a.m. McCoy and Spraggins then went for a drive in his truck and arrived back at the apartment complex at about 9:40 a.m. before he fatally shot her. Prosecutors are seeking the death penalty for McCoy. I think that's the best choice. Most definitely get the death penalty for him. This man killed his girlfriend and the unborn child that she was carrying that belongs to him. That's two murders. I say go for it. This story right here was absolutely made for television or made for the big screen. Like I said, these type of stories actually do get scripts written up for them. People sensationalize this kind of stuff, unfortunately. So let's really run this down. This guy got this woman pregnant. She seems to be more into the relationship than he is. Like, you can tell just by his mannerisms, he's just completely standoffish towards her. It's almost like she was just, there, and she was, like, again, more into the relationship than he was. It's almost like he kind of just went along with it for the sake of this woman being pregnant with his child, and I guess she probably felt this was a way that they were going to come closer together. Let's just be honest. This man was single in that relationship. She was the only one in the relationship. He wasn't completely invested into it. I mean, think about it. He's with this woman who he claims to be his girlfriend, pregnant with his child. Meanwhile, he's engaged to some other woman that she doesn't even know about. And look at the stuff that he was saying. He said bullet to the head. And then he says, come here and I'll take care of you. That's why I said that was an interesting choice of words. He was throwing out subtle hints to her. Of course, she probably wasn't really picking those up because, you know, she's a woman. She's being probably emotional. She's 7 months pregnant. So she's really probably not thinking much over. I probably would have been looking kind of side-eye with that bullet to the head one. But another thing that struck me was when after he did it and when the cops got there and he tried to claim he didn't even know who she was. He treated her like she was a complete stranger, as if they did not have any type of relations whatsoever. I would say that they did 7 months ago, or 7 months prior to that. They most definitely did. But you can tell by the look on this man's face and his mugshot, there's no soul there whatsoever. This guy had no problem taking out this woman and the child she was pregnant with like it was nothing. The fact that he staged it as a suicide lets you know he wanted nothing to do with her or that child. And this was him tying up a loose end so he could be with that woman he was engaged to. Because after all, the woman he killed who was pregnant with his child was just the girlfriend. The woman he was with that he was engaged to, that's who he really wanted to be with. And he could have went about this a whole nother way instead of doing it the way that he did. Like, say, I don't know. My question is, how long did he even know this other woman he's engaged to? Or what, well, at this point was engaged to, because I'm going to be honest, she's probably, you know, that's done. He's facing possibly getting the death penalty. That is done. She might as well move on as well. And when you think about it, he was deceiving 2 women. He deceived the woman he was pregnant, that he got pregnant. And because she's thinking that it's just them 2 plus the child they got on the way. Then he deceived the other woman he was engaged to, because she most likely didn't even know about this other woman who, let alone, was pregnant with his child. Just imagine if they never found this out and he just went on with his life like nothing happened. So he probably felt in his mind, I just have to get rid of this woman. I'm not going to say what he probably called her, but y'all pretty much can guess. This guy is a sick individual, and I hope nothing but the worst comes his way. And from the looks of it, that hope might actually become a reality.